for December expected in at 34.4, unchanged, with a range between
One was really
34.3
frustrating
and
to me is I had a trade that
34.5,
was
with
up
labour
like,
force participation prior coming in
I don't know, like
at
1,500 points,
63.2%. In
and
terms
I
of the
lost all
breakdown,
my
the US private
profits in like
payrolls for December,
minutes.
they're
It was so
expected in at
upsetting to me because I couldn't sleep for like 2
152,000
days.
versus the prior
And
254,000
then,
reading, with a range
yeah,
between
there I was in
90
the
and
morning, and non-farm payroll or
254,000.
something like
Meanwhile,
that wiped me out.
manufacturing payrolls expected to come in at 5,000, with a range between down 18,000 and up 54,000. Mind at the same time, we're also going to get the Canadian labour market report. The headline net change in employment for December expected in up 25,000 versus the prior decline of 71,200, with a range between 10,000 and 40,000, a rise there. Unemployment rate, meanwhile, seen in at 5.8%, declining on the prior 5.9% print, with a range between 5.5 and 5.9%. Hourly wages year on year for December, permanent employees, that's expected in lower at 4.2% versus the prior 4.4% reading. Just a reminder for the breakdown on the priors, the full-time employment change on the prior came in at down 38,400, with part-time employment prior coming in at down 32,800. And the participation rate out of Canada is expected in unchanged at 65.6.
All right. Why there is no... there it is.
Looking at a couple of notes, then we do have quite a wide range of estimates for the headline print across the different banks and brokerages. Morgan Stanley's more bullish on the print. They look for another strong month of job gains in December. They expect total non-farm payrolls expected to increase by a net 210,000, private up 200,000, and they see the unemployment rate remaining unchanged at 3.5% in line with market consensus, and average hourly earnings, they see that increasing by 0.3% month on month and 3.05% year on year. However, it's worth noting, likes of others such as TD are seeing more downside than upside risk for this payrolls print for December after what they see as an exaggerated surge in November, which as we know was 266,000 and around 220,000 if we exclude the 46,000 returning GM workers from the strikes. And so even our below consensus 145,000 forecast implies a strong 189,000 average for the fourth quarter. So they note that the December reading could be even weaker without necessarily signalling a major slowing in the trend. They're neutral relative to consensus on the unemployment rate, see that at 3.5%. And for the hourly earnings, they see that as well, like Morgan Stanley, up about 3% month on month.
Dollar yen is really quiet.
A bit of a preview for the Canadian employment report via TD as well. They look for the labour market to bounce back with the creation of 25,000 jobs in December, in line with the market consensus, for a partial recovery of the 71,000 jobs we lost during the prior month. Goods producing industries, they note, should lead the recovery after bearing the brunt of recent layoffs, while the unemployment rate should retreat in their eyes to 5.7%. Just note the market consensus going for 5.8%. They say that's as wage growth cools from 4.4% to 4%. Just under 3 minutes time till the data reports, then recapping all the estimates for your headline. US non-farm payrolls expected in around about 160,000. Unemployment rates expected in unchanged 3.5%. Earnings month on month expected in at spot 3%. Year on year 3.1% is expected. For Canada, the employment change is expected to rise by 25,000. Unemployment rate is expected to decline to 5.8%. The hourly wage rate is expected in at 4.2%, with the participation rate expected in at 65.6. In terms of the ordering for the data, of course, we're going to lead with the headline US non-farm payrolls print. We'll then move to unemployment and the earnings numbers, and move to Canada and give the headline employment change, unemployment rate, etc., and then come back and fill in the breakdown on both respective reports. Last quick look at some of the brokerages then. As we said, Morgan Stanley going for 210,000, Jefferies on the higher end as well, 195,000, with BMO and Goldman Sachs 185,000. On the lower end, you've got the likes of Deutsche 135,000 and JP Morgan with 125,000. Dealer medium 155,000.
You and me, everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way. Not looking for no heaven to go, 'cause I got you.
Alright, dollar yen is already starting to move.
Show us off, but you're my all that I need.
1 minute to the data.
Flying so high, I don't even know if I'm coming down. You rock my boat when you hold me so tight. The world just disappears in front of my eyes. I'm telling you why, this ain't no madness. The smoke in the mirrors, our memories, how the sun's come down. Like a river rising way up above. And say, this ain't no sugarcoat.
There goes the spread.
Yeah, this ain't no sugarcoated love.
10 seconds.
Sugarcoated love. I'll stay in bed.
145,000, unemployment rate 3.5%, earnings month on month 1%, year on year 2.9%, Canada employment up 35,200, unemployment 5.6%, earnings come in at 3.8%, participation rate 65.5. It's a revision on the headline US NFP print, 256,000 from the previous 266,000, but to repeat, the headline US non-farm payrolls reports number misses the consensus 160,000, comes in at 145,000. Private payrolls 139,000, manufacturing payrolls down 12,000, government payrolls up 6,000. The average work week hours 34.3, with labour force participation 63.2%. And just to repeat, the headline Canadian employment change better than expected, up 35,200. Versus expectations of the 25,000 increase. The unemployment rate as well, 5.6% on estimated 5.8%. Couple of other revisions as well for the US earnings month on month. The PIB being revised upward by 1% to 3. Looking at the breakdown on this report then, December goods producing jobs down 1,000, construction was up 20,000, with private services providing jobs up 140,000, retail jobs up 41,200 for the US print. Meanwhile, the New York Fed accepts $40.875 billion of possible $120 billion in bids submitted at the overnight repo operation.
Well, most boring NFP ever.
I had hopes I can get a buy-in on something somewhere, but nothing really.
Look, cable is flying for no reason. And the Aussie dollar. Okay, the Aussie dollar is a buy for the next week or so anyway. With or without an NFP.
some initial reaction from some of the economists out of this NFP print, noticing the worrying number in the jobs report about the 2.9% year-on-year wage growth. Apparently it's the weakest wage growth since July 2018. Just a heads up, early heads up, White House Economic Advisor Kudlow will be speaking on Bloomberg TV today at 14:35 GMT. Usually does the rounds on NFP day, maybe starting earlier on Fox Business. Just a heads up, but the confirmed time we have is with Bloomberg TV at 14:35. Just in crypto news here, worth noting via the block that China's central bank has said it has completed a top-level design of its digital currency. So the next steps are to follow the principles of stability, security and control, said the head of the Digital Currency Research Institute at the PBOC. This is the latest update we're seeing from the PBOC regarding its digital yuan. As we noted last week, the central bank also said its digital currency is progressing smoothly.
You look so
Alright. It's pretty much 100% retracement, so I guess that's it. Yeah, 100, almost 100%. So basically nothing. Have a good weekend, everybody. And talk to you in the chat or
US overnight banking funding rate at 1.54% on the 9th of Jan on $192 billion in volume in trades, unchanged.